So, just was a nervous twitch is there for those animals that were mistreated. So, and they'll withhold some of the cows we had. They'll just not release their the milk just because they don't trust. There's lack of trust. But once you've gained their trust, then they'll just the milk just flows like Niagara Falls into the bucket, practically. Of course, you have to make some effort. But the example is given here of cow and ass to indicate that animals may not be as sharp as human beings on some level. And so that's why that example is given if we're wondering. Ga or Gavi, that the word cow also appears at least twice that I can think of in the Gita. Once is Kashir Gorak Shavamijam, that means protecting the cows. It's an obligation of the Vaishya. And then, if you remember, Vidya Vinaya Sampane, Brahmane Gavaschini, Shuni Chaiva Shwapakricha, Pandita Samadarishina. So a learned person, a pundit, an actual pundit, one who has a good perception on things, has equal vision on a gentle Brahmin and a dog eater. A dog eater is called, the Sanskrit's called Chandala, means one who eats dogs, those kind of people who are around the wet markets, the COVID-19 kind of folks, I guess. And, even though life is lowly for such a person, he's still equal. Spiritually, there's equality. The Atma is like the same as the Brahman. Then in the list, probably the example that Krishna gives to Arjuna is 2 human beings he cites as examples. Then he also talks about 3 animals. And one is the Hastini, that means an elephant. And one is Shuni. Shuni means dog. And then Gavi, which is like the word that we have here, go, say, or ga, different tense of the word, I guess. And so Gavi means cow. Gavi means cow. So those are animals in general. They have their very strong points. A cow and a bull, they're very generous creatures. They're big and they give a lot. They're very benevolent. And when we talk about an ass has an ability to do some hard work also, called beasts of burden. And all animals have, we look like, what's the ability of a bear? Since it's there, I'll ask you the question. What's the special skill that a bear has, or skills that a bear has that we don't have? Anybody know? I know they can manage to sleep for a long time, but apart from that, what abilities do bears have?
They can catch fish.
They can catch fish. Yeah. What else?
They're very strong.
Yeah, they're very powerful. Mm-hmm.
They'll lead you, if you watch them, they'll lead you to where the honey is.
They have a strong nose. One person described a bear as a nose with some hair and legs. They can smell incredible distances. Yeah. Their eyesight is not very good. But anyways, they have some incredible properties, abilities. Okay, let's look at, what about an eagle? We have plenty of eagles in Canada. What's their strength? They have a clean sense of vision. They can see from incredible distance. They can see that little thing crawling on the road. Some little rodent, in the field, and he's got his eyes on it, and he's going for it. And there's other strengths: the claws, the wings, and the beak. Okay, let's talk about a mountain lion, a puma, something we also have in Canada. What are their strengths?
They're good climbers.
They're good climbers, okay. What else? They have a good bite, don't they? If you want to get it to your neck, they do a pretty good job. They go pretty deep and cut you off, your blood circulation off real fast. They do a pretty good job of it. They're pretty agile. They're fast movers. They can run fast, better than we ever could. And what about a dog? Let's talk about a dog. Could be a wild dog, could be a coyote, or could be just even a domestic dog. What are their skills, their abilities? Anybody?
They're loyal.
They're loyal. Mm-hmm. What about physical structure? What do they have that's really strong?
Hear better.
They can hear, incredible hearing power. That's right. Mm-hmm. So these are some examples of of creature, mammals and bird life that have incredible powers that we don't have. What do we have? As weapons, nails, not very effective. We're pretty good at making weapons that can practically defeat almost anything. Just because there's this different intelligence level. Some animals are very good at stalking, very good at teamwork, and we learn some things from them as well, apparently. But we have this very special level of intelligence, and that's why we are supposed to be the custodians, guardians, or stewards of the planet, and we should protect these animals and let them live and let them do what they need to do. But our strength lies in our ability, our discretion between what is good and what is bad. We apply Dharma. This is something animals don't do. Dharma Sakshat Bhagavatam. So Dharma is established by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He delivers it to human beings. He delivers it to Vivaswan, and that then in turn goes down, filters down through a disciplic succession. But it's human beings. It's wisdom that's passed on through human beings. Brain power is a certain kind of brain power that we have is distributed to humans. We're also supposed to understand with this the power of the brain, the discretionary ability of drawing a line between what is matter and what is spirit. There's two energies that we look at that animals don't really quite get. Most animals are very sensitive. They can respond really well, especially to love. But especially if you raise them when they're just young and they're orphaned, they become your companion practically for life. Animals are very smart. They're very loving, very reciprocal in that way. So they have a certain kind of brain, and our brains are wired a little different. We understand the difference between matter and spirit. And so, Atata Brahma Jignasa, that Vedic aphorism Prabhupada always quoted, which means to say that I've gone through many lives, many, many species. Now I'm a human. And now I must inquire into the absolute. Jignasa. That means I must, Atata Brahma Jignasa. I must use my brains for Brahman, for a spiritual subject matter. That's my obligation. That's what makes me different from other forms of life, animals, fowl, worms, bugs, and so on like that. When you look at most animals, they're basically just spending most of the day looking for something to eat. Spend their whole day looking. Some are very successful. Some have something to eat all the time. They're always eating. Cows are always eating. Well, if we go back to the lion, they're not interested in grass. They're not interested in chapatis and pizza. You can't tempt them with a pizza. If you give the best pizza in the world, you offer it to them, they're hungry. They're not looking at the pizza, they're looking at you. Well, they want you. So, but to get you, if you're just standing there, you'll think you're an easy kill. But they have a hard time. Prabhupada also talks about like the tiger or the lion that go into the forest, and all the animals are warning each other that trouble's coming. All the animals become alert. The monkeys become alert. Rodents, there's a certain energy going out there. Trouble, let's get out of the way. So they have a hard time, to make that kill. And because it's hard for them to find what you call the booty, therefore, once they get it, and if you don't have a pride around you that all shares, that is supper time together, then you take that, you fill your belly now, and you put it up in some kind of hole or up in a tree or something like that, so you can get at it a little later on. And it's very hard for them because then you've got the hyenas, they're smelling something in it, or other wild dogs, and they say, oh, yeah, there's something here, and they go for it. And when the lion comes, he's got his stash, and he sees that everyone's after, got my kill. So it's not easy for certain creatures that are like hunters. Not easy for them. Our life is different, and in terms of our food, we cultivate it, we grow it, we put a seed there, and it starts to fructify and become something else after some time. We have to take a lot of care for our food that we require to have. Unless if you're living in the Garden of Eden, and the mangoes here, the papayas there. When I go to Guyana, there's one devotee there, his Paramatma, and I've been to his house a few times. His wife is, just one of the best cooks. So he's got fruits growing all over. All you have to do is just open a window. You don't even have to go outside, So that's kind of like heaven, isn't it? It's like being in heaven. So we do have to spend some time getting our food together, but as human beings, we have an obligation to ourselves, to the soul, to the Atma. We have an obligation to get clean, to get spiritual, to get our act together, to get, serious about sadhana, which are basically the stepping stones to get back to, to become liberated. All the different forms, all the souls that go through different species, they are streamlined ultimately to become a human being. And when you're a human being, it's then possible to transcend and to seek moksha and get out of this cycle of birth and death. So that's why the separation is there. And as human beings, we shouldn't fall into the trap of thinking this is mine, this belongs to me, or that this body is mine, or the place where I'm born is a very special place because of me, because of my ego. These are traps, and we should not fall into them. Hare Krishna. Questions? What time are we on right now? 8:20. Okay. Comments? Questions? And we were going to, one day, maybe we could do it tomorrow, look at what is the next verse, whatever's going to be in the board, and we can all share in giving the class, like we did last week. We were having more of a discussion, so I hope you're all up for that. While you're thinking about the question, the next verse should probably be number 15. So just, you can get a little bit of a head start. Get an idea of what you could talk about. Everyone can contribute something. Do you want me to read the verse quickly? So you get a sneak
Not doing 14 and
sneak peek. 14 has no purport. It has no purport, so therefore 15. Do you want me to read it? Tomorrow's verse. We are recording here, don't embarrass me. Say yes or no. Well, I'm embarrassed. Okay. I'll give it to you anyways. For some time the sages pondered the Supreme Lord's behavior, which resembled that of a subordinate living being. They concluded that he was acting this way to instruct the people in general. Thus they smiled and spoke to him, the spiritual master of the universe. Okay, so anyways, that's text 15, verse 84, Canto 10. Questions, comments? Okay. Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Panchakalpatarubhyascha